Namaskar and a very warm welcome to the 57th edition of Water Talk organized by National Water Mission Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India. हमारे साथ जो दर्शक जुड़े हैं उन्हें मैं बताना चाहूंगी कि ये नेशनल वाटर मिशन की एक पहल है जिससे हम वाटर सेक्टर के हर पहलू को जान सकें. In short, we leverage this platform to engage in meaningful discussions that aid water resource management. ये प्लेटफॉर्म हम सभी को एक मौका प्रदान करता है जिससे कि हम जल संरक्षण के प्रति अपनी जिम्मेदारी को समझ सकें. इसी कड़ी में आज का ये कार्यक्रम वाटर गवर्नेंस के महत्व और आवश्यकता पर आयोजित किया गया है. Water governance is a crucial aspect that involves political, social, economic, and administrative systems to develop and deploy essential water management strategies. Also, integrated multi-stakeholder approach is the need of the hour for moving towards a water secure nation. In this league, Catch the Rain campaign is also working towards it, integrating multi-stakeholder approach and how it has evolved over the years. We shall listen to it through this discussion. Today, for this discussion, we have two very special guests with us who have realized the need of water governance for a sustainable water management and for a water secure future. Firstly, I would like to welcome Archana Verma ma'am, Mission Director, National Water Mission, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India. मैम का मार्गदर्शन बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण रहा है जल शक्ति अभियान को आगे बढ़ाने में. मैम आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए. साथ ही हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं जी अशोक कुमार सर, फॉर्मर स्पेशल सेक्रेटरी एंड एक्स डायरेक्टर जनरल, National Mission for Clean Ganga, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India. During his tenure as Additional Secretary and Mission Director, National Water Mission, under his guidance, Catch the Rain campaign was implemented, which aimed at harvesting rainwater. Also, he pioneered the concept of Jal Shakti Kendras, which somewhat brings into reality community participation and capacity building. Without much ado, I would request ma'am for her opening remarks so that we can hear out sir's experience and also how this campaign is moving forward to achieve a water secure nation. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Arpita, and welcome, Ashok, sir. I have the honor and privilege to introduce Ashok, sir, because I remember that, when I got the posting order for Mission Director, National Water Mission, I just Googled what it was all about because I'd never worked in the water sector before. And lo and behold, Ashok sir's name pops up as the Rain Man of India. So Ashok sir is a legendary figure in the sector of water. And not only the Rain Man of India moniker, sits very well with him. He also was DG National Mission for Clean Ganga. And wherever he goes, he brings his passion and enthusiasm to the assignment and works with his heart and soul. And that we have seen the picture that you see behind me of Piku, the mascot of National Water Mission, is also his idea. And the water talk that we are having today, the DM dialogues that we have today, is also because of Ashok sir. He was the one and pioneer who started it because during COVID, that was the only way to engage with stakeholders. And what better than Ashok sir to explain on water governance and engaging with stakeholders, because he has really done it during both of his tenure as NWM and as NMCG, where we saw an explosion of communication with all the multi stakeholders for both the assignments. We all know the advantages of multi stakeholder consultation and approach in water governance, because that leads to informed decision making. It also leads to more equity, and then you also get the traditional wisdom of the people who are the stakeholders involved in implementing the program. And with the private sector, it can bring investment. It also leads to a greater outreach with the NGOs. But most important is it builds trust. And that's why, the Honorable PM has always emphasized the inclusion of multi stakeholders in water conservation campaign. His is always for whole of society, whole of government approach, which the National Water Mission's objective is aligned to. And I take this opportunity to also talk a little about Jal Sanchay Jan Bhagidari initiative, which we have introduced under the thank you, under the Jal Shakti Abhiyan, which is envisaged to intensify community action in water conservation through individual donorships, through CSR. While these are important concepts in JSA, this time we are really getting it. All started in Gujarat, and we are getting commitments from diaspora of certain regions as a give back. They are pledging funds and also implementation for rainwater harvesting structures, especially borewell recharge and recharge pits and rooftop rainwater harvesting structures. So JSJB is an exemplar for community involvement and tapping the resources of multifarious stakeholder for ownership and involvement in water conservation. So that is all I would like to say. And now over to you, Arpita, to allow Ashok sir, who is a legend in water, to speak on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And ma'am is the one who's been carrying this legendary campaign forward. But honestly, I'm no one to allow sir because he's the one who has initiated all this. And we are eagerly waiting to hear from sir how this happened and how it took a nationwide approach involving communities into it. Sir, please, over to you.
Uh, good morning, everybody. Thanks, Archana, for the wonderful introduction and setting the context for the speak. So, am I audible and visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Um, uh, this is something like homecoming for me because I used to sit in Archana's chair and then do the starting 2-minute introduction and leave the experts in water to talk. So, thanks, Arjuna, for promoting me as an expert in water. This series, as was mentioned, Water Talk was started on March 22nd, 2020, I think 21. And it was held very religiously every second Fridays. And during the COVID, we switched on to a digital platform, which brought in more audiences and more wider geographical reach, which then expanded to water tech talks every first Fridays, and then we had water business talk every fourth Fridays, dialogues with DM, catch the rain on Saturdays, etc., etc., etc. So thanks a lot, Archana, for the continuity which you have maintained, and I always said that it is very, very important that your successors continue with the stories and make it bigger. And it is more appealing today. Another thing is that I was told that this year's Catch the Rain campaign would be ending in this December. So this again a campaign which all of us had started in 2020. Then later on it became as a Jal Shakti Abhiyan Catch the Rain in 2021, and relentlessly carried forward with much aplomb by Archana again. And incidentally, today also marks 1 year of the launch of a global river city alliance at COP28, Dubai. Again, at the presence of Archana and many ministers of many countries, we launched the Global River City Alliance in Dubai. So I'll come to this because some of these are institution building, some of these are getting stakeholders involved, and this also are examples of getting an integrated approach in water management. Um, for effectivity of any efforts, it should be sustained and have continuity. So continuity calls for 4 C's: clarity, comprehension, commitment, and competence. I am thankful that Archana all the four, and she had continued all the efforts which we had started. Thanks again, once again, Archana, for this. Continued association with partners is also important. The APAC was partner in the Castorean campaign when it started. When in 2020 there were no takers for it. Actually, we were actually sort of snubbed by everybody, and then we, with very limited network, we used to meet some influencers to give bites on Castorean campaign, and then it went on and went on, and then picked up by the honorable PM and became very big. So it's a big story by itself to tell on Castorean campaign, but I am thankful that the association of APAC is continuing. And at that time, I think the water talks were handled by Water Digest. They are also still continuing our association in the water sector. But I've been interested to talk more about the evolution of Castorean, how not much importance given campaign was picked up by Honorable PM, and then how it became Jal Shakti and Castorean, and then went on to become one of the biggest water conservation campaigns of the world. It's that we will probably talk another day if Archana permits. So I've been asked to talk today on water governance, integrated multi-stakeholder approach towards water security. A huge headline, and every word by itself is a talk itself for a talk. Many so the people who have expertise in various words associated with can actually give a maybe 2 hour talk on this. So I have been asked to combine, integrate all these, and talk on the subject. Now, here we go for the executive summary in the beginning, right from the starting from the right side of that huge topic: water security. Now, what is water security? Security is defined by UN as the capacity of a population to safeguard and sustainable access to adequate quantities of acceptable quality water for sustaining livelihoods, human well-being, and socio-economic development, for ensuring protection against waterborne pollution and water-related disasters, and for preserving ecosystems in a climate of peace and political stability. Uh, this is the definition proposed by UN Water to serve as a starting point for the dialogue in the UN systems. We were fortunate enough to attend the World Water Conference in UN 2023, held after almost 47 years. And India's water initiatives were very well appreciated by by the world, countries all over the world, particularly ever since the Prime Minister came. The Swachh Bharat mission, which tried to improve the water quality, then the Jal Jeevan mission, the National Mission for Clean Ganga, and then all the other the effort to make the solid waste contamination of water to be prevented, etc. These are all talked about much in the world circles. Now, the long definition of water security can simply be put as ensuring adequate availability of water for us and our future generation, despite the increase in demand and effects of climate change. As again, it mentioned, it involves both quality and quantity aspects of water. The quantity means sufficient quantity of water for drinking, drinking for us, for animals and plants, for making food in the agriculture production, then for industrial purposes, all basically primarily related to human beings. Water is also required for the rivers to flow, for the oceans and all the sharks and fishes, etc., who are living in these water bodies. And then we have to ensure biodiversity is preserved. We need water. We need to protect our aquatic flora and fauna, and also to maintain the hydrological cycle. So that's all, and is encompassed in the water security aspect of it. The first aim of water security is to make water most of water's benefits for humans and ecosystems. And the second aim is to limit the risks of destructive impacts of water to an acceptable level. And these risks involve too much of water, that is flood, too little of water, that is drought and water scarcity, or poor quality, that's a polluted water. Now, the second important term in the whole huge title given is the multi-stakeholder. A very important aspect of it is we have multiple ways of looking at these multi-stakeholders. There are multi-sources of water, multi-users of water, and multi-polluters of water. Hence, multi-stakeholders, we can divide into many aspects of it. All have to but act together to ensure water security. What are the multiple sources of water? You have groundwater, you have surface water, ice in the glaciers, river water. Now, new things which have emerged is the treated water, which in many countries are even started using it for drinking purposes. We have not reached that stage. We are only at the making the baby steps in using the treated water. Then the users and polluters are many, but they are mostly common. The industries, the agriculture, the farmers, the municipalities, people living in the towns and cities, the manufacturers, etc., are the users of water. And hence, the story of water security is the involvement of commons, that is multi stakeholders, and hence the story of water security is the story of tragedy of commons. Now, how should they act? Integrated. That's also given the title. So, to act in an integrated way, we need some norms, and that's where the governance come in. So, the whole definition or the title, which we break down into various small aspects. Now, again, this the executive summary of water governance. Governance is required to bring all these stakeholders, multi-stakeholders, to act in tandem in a rhythmic way to achieve the common goal. And governance hence requires norms, which needs robust policies, standards, institutions. We also need implementers, entrepreneurs to get it in the ground, then to monitors to see that these are all as per the norms which we have asked them to do it. And then we have to build capacity for those who are executing and monitoring. And also we require appropriate technology. And to do all these things, we require adequate finances, capital expenditure, as well oil expenditure. All this comes under the governance now. So water governance is very complicated and difficult, and as water is mostly taken for granted by everyone, the powers they be. And in water, the other problem is that different policies, even related to water sector, makes significant unexpected impact in water sector. Say, for example, is the policies of giving free power to farmers. It all looks very simple, but then it is one of the major causes of unbridled extraction of groundwater, which results in depletion of groundwater and causes water stress in many places. So you in Delhi, we all know about the polluted air which comes in the month of November, etc., which again can be traced back to a policy of shift in agricultural practice to save water in Punjab. So there are many cases where the sectors policies of farmer sectors very deeply impact the water sector. Hence, water governance also will have to take those also into considerations. And above all, the climate changes, which we are now seeing and talked about every day. But unfortunately, the water sector, which is mostly affected by the climate change and which has a maximum manifestation of the climate change, is not well adequately addressed in any of the water climate change debates. because most of the time in these debates are always given for energy sector and decarbonization, etc., etc. The latest, the sixth IPCC assessment report found that increasing weather and climate extremes have exposed millions of people to water scarcity and food insecurity. Its report predicted that global warming of 2 degrees would expose about 1.5 billion people to water stress. And it finds that 1.5 to 2.5 billion people live in areas exposed to water scarcity. So you have in the executive summary itself, we found how complicated things, and it's basically golmaal hai, sub golmaal hai. Now let us start analyzing things in a bit detail. Uh, the starting is the quantity aspect of it. Do we have adequate water here in India? Yes, we all know that we have sufficient water despite the temporal and spatial variations, which we always talk about the monsoon months and then uh, the spread of rain from Chirapunchi and the highest rainfall area in the eastern part of India to the very scarce rainfall in the western part of India. So this is there, but overall, the water quantity has not reduced over the years, even though it has come in shorter ranges, shorter periods, or in much more high intense rainfalls we feel. But then yearly wise, every annual rainfall has remained more or less stable most of the time. So we have sufficient water. Then what has happened? One, as mentioned, the climate change brings water in a very short time, much faster than what was earlier, what used to happen earlier. We have reduced the water storage availability into the ground, which is due to many reasons. That's where the Catch a Rain campaign based on how to increase the storage of rainwater. Even it comes very fast by storing it a decentralized way at where it falls and when it falls. And then we have uh, sufficient water, I would say, quantity availability, as I mentioned. But then what we need is increase to manage the increased demand of the water. So probably we'll have to. This is inevitable because as the population grows, our demand grows up, our economy grows, the demand grows up. But then we have to do proper demand management. So what essentially means that to ensure water security in India, the first and foremost thing is to do the supply and demand side management. To augment the supply side, we need to make available more water. Now, which is a source of water for us in India? It's mostly rainwater. Some places we have glaciers melting. That also brings in water to some rivers in the northern part of India. But generally, all over the country, if you look at it, it's rainwater. So we need to increase the storage of rainwater. We can store this rainwater through massive water storage structures like dams, etc. We have 5,900 of them. So there are issues associated with dams. Some of the dams are not functioning at per their design capacity. Silting is a problem. The water quantity has storage quantity has gone down. So many issues associated with that the dams. But then this is one way of tackling or trying to increase the water quantity stored. So dams is one. Then, as we mentioned, the decentralized storage of rainwater through appropriate rainwater harvesting structures, small and big, with the concept of the catch the rain where it falls, when it falls, is a decentralized storage of water. Government have initiated many steps in the last, particularly in the last 10 years, to handle this water quantity. Earlier, the focus was on big dams, but now the focus is on water better management and water decentralized storage of water. The Catch the Rain campaign and the Atal Bhujal Yojana are some of the important initiatives of the government to ensure that the groundwater is improved, and that too with people's participation. Now we need to increase water. We also have to increase water use efficiency, because increasing the or saving the water would virtually, I would say, increase the availability of water. So how can we save the usage of water or increase the water use efficiency? We can use it with multiple usage of water. Same water can be, if possible, used in 2-3 purposes. You can use that water. A classic example we always tell is the water from the reject RO, where you can use the water to wash the plants or our vegetables, then use it for mopping the floor, and then use the same water for watering the plants. So three usage of fresh water has been confined to one water, which we got it from the rejector of the RO. So that's the multiple usage water. Then you have recycling of water and the reuse of water, which is now picking up the ground in India. Government of India is also promoting this concept of reuse of treated water in a big way for industries as well as for agriculture. Recycling of water is also being taken up. So that is one way of increasing the quantity of water. We also should ensure that the available quantity of water is not harmed by pollutant, because polluting of water sources is another major challenge we face in India, which reduces the quantity of availability of free water. It's a very small quantity of dirty water or bad water or with toxins can pollute a large quantity of good water. So that means the availability of water goes down, good water goes down. So pollution is also a very major concern, which we have to act to ensure that the water quantity is available. Then we have to work on reducing the water demand as a second part of it, the demand side management. We have to reduce the demands of water in various sectors by using appropriate sector-specific interventions. We have to increase the water use efficiency in agriculture and industry. Thanks to Archana, we have set up the National Bureau of Water Use Efficiency, uh, trying to emulate its better known cousin, the Bureau of Energy Efficiency. It's a work in progress, and hope that it will not be resting in peace. Hopefully, that this will emerge as one of the major interventions to conserve water in the country. Now, another aspect regarding the quantity of water is the excessive abstraction of water, both surface and groundwater, for irrigation. Irrigation is one of the major causes for the perceived water stress and small rivers running dry. Agriculture, all of you know, accounts for about 85% of water usage in India, with a very abysmal water use efficiency of 30%. Then, what is also abstracted for drinking and industrial purposes, it is rising. With increasing population in the urban areas and schemes like Har Ghar Jal to provide drinking water at home, the requirement of water for drinking is also increasing. Urban usage and is increasing, and also the pollution in the urban water bodies have increased. So these are some of the causes for reduction of the water quantity, which directly affect the water security. Then new industries which come up are also requiring a lot of water. They also require much high quality. They also pollute more water because more pollution is also generated by them. And some of the modern industries like semiconductor, etc., which are water intensive and require very high quality of water. That aspect brings the quality of water, I said. This has achieved significant attention these days, finally, because of the interventions of NGT and etc. etc. Growing number of environmentalists are pushing for the water quality requirement. So our water bodies are polluted from sewage from cities and towns, industrial effluents, non-pointed pollution sources like agricultural runoff, etc. etc. And of course, the solid waste, the plastics, microplastics, and emerging pollutants. They are very much threat to the good water availability, because they tend to pollute, and they are very difficult to detect also. Then these are all produced and used by various stakeholders I mentioned. That brings in the question of the multi stakeholders. Who are the multi stakeholders? As I mentioned before, there are people who use the water and who pollute the water. They are the stakeholders. They include the flora and fauna, the fishes, the sharks in the ocean, the trees in the forest, the farmers who cultivate, the industrialists, everything, everybody is involved in that. So involving all of them in an integrated manner is a big challenge by itself. And so, in order to ensure water security, we need to take all stakeholders on board. On top of it, we have the academics who theorize and then try to help us in setting standard. There's a lot of of uh, of things which they don't agree right now. So we are now trying to engage the academics to ensure that proper standards, they, with their wisdom, with their scientific studies, ensure that the proper standards are set for the water, and proper technologies are developed for better management of water. Now, all these can be achieved by good governance also. The governance is the elephant in the room, and हमारा सबसे कमजोर कड़ी हुई है, because it is a major political issue. Water is taken for granted by and politicians. But then, as somebody said, you will know the value of water only when the well dries up or the taps run out. From extreme case of nationalization of every drop of water, which happens in Israel, to total right on the underground one in India. There are too many models available in the world to from water governance. But then water governance, another aspect in India particularly, and in many other parts of the world, is the management in silos. Water is handled by different departments in the country, and hence they hardly talk to each other, and hence there is hardly any coordination. Ministry of Jal Shakti is one example or of an attempt to bring many stakeholder, many various different entities or silos of water working together to one platform. A move by the Honorable Prime Minister to form Ministry of Jal Shakti is what's very right step in this direction, because cross-cutting orders, contradicting orders issued by various departments on the water usage was creating confusion in the field, and that is to be hope to be addressed in this formation of this Ministry of Jal Shakti. And now a lot of integrated activities are happening to ensure that there's water security in the country. Now, we also have to bring in institutions to handle this governance. We may have norms, laws, etc., but then we also should have systems and institutions to handle it. Jal Shakti Kendra was mentioned as in the talk as a part of the Catch the Rain campaign. We tried to do it because till now at the district level we had different agencies handling water in different silos. We tried to bring in a convergence at the district level by setting up of Jal Shakti Kendras, and I'm told by Archana that almost 700 districts have sort of set up these Jal Shakti Kendras. That could be on paper, that could be just set up in a room and then reported compliance. Now, how we start using them in a more effective way, how we can put that in the people's domain, and people asking the people to use these Jal Shakti Kendras for water budgeting in their districts, preparing water budgeting in their villages, how to divide the water among various requirements for drinking and for agriculture purposes by the people is very important. So this is, but then for this we need data, and this require what resources about water. So that is where the Jal Shakti Kendra is trying to provide. They also are to provide simple technical solutions for appropriate rainwater harvesting structures in those those districts, because in India, it's a vast country, we have different soil structures and substrata surfaces, substrata, which requires different types of interventions to save water. So those Jal Shakti Kendras are supposed to help these people to give them simple solutions appropriate to their area for the rainwater harvesting structures, and also help them in formation of water budgets. We also told about the institutions like River City Alliance and Global River City Alliance, which is again a different institution type of institutions to help and share the technologies and experience of handling water in a river water. That is a separate topic by itself, so I'm not getting into it. So rivers have more complications because it flows from one state to other place, or from one country to another country. So there are transboundary issues there, and there are issues of managing the whole moving water. Which tends to be very complicated. So, but thanks to the political will and the guidance given by Prime Minister, Namami Gange could pick up well, and it has been recognized as one of the top 10 programs, environmental programs of the world. Our biodiversity has come back. The dolphins have come back in a very large way, and the Kumbh, which happens regularly in Ganga. Now the next Kumbh is going to happen in 25. From about 7.5 crore people attending, which used to attend earlier, now they're expecting about 40 crore of people. This is not only because of the increased convenience to come, but it also is because of the better water quality available at this dance. So we are proud that we could do something to clean River Ganga and sustain it and maintain. These are all possible because of the institutions which are built in. District Ganga committees were built in, which used to monitor the flow of water, the quantity of water, and report action taken immediately. Technology to look at the water quality available and bring it to one dashboard called Prayag in National Mission for Clean Ganga and to monitor it. So these type of institution building and capacity building are very important for the governance. So that brings to the use of technology for water management and governance and sharing data. Data is very important because unless you have data, we will not be able to know what's happening. That brings into the another question of universal metering of water. The water is not metered in the country. In many places, the losses of water or the accounting of water is not done properly, and hence we do not know exactly where which water we are using or how much quantity of water we are using. So universal metering of water is to be taken as an important aspect of water governance. And once the water is metered, all sources of water, we may have to probably go for the universal metering of water. Then we can go for the pricing of water and thus give a value of water. It is a political issue, but unless we meter, we cannot monitor. Unless we monitor, we cannot analyze the causes of the loss of water. Unless we analyze the causes of the wastage of water, we cannot take steps to improve the water. So metering is another important aspect of governance. And the last and most important thing is the sustained support and participation of people. So people have to be brought in. People have to be made to understand the value of water. We knew the value. We know the value of water when water stops on, but then we tend to forget that after the crisis is over. But we have to have this awareness building in a big way among the people to ensure that people's participation is a must in the water management, because whatever be the government action, whatever be the trust given by leaders, it is the individual's commitment to water conservation that matters. It is when we say that every drop of water counts, it is the every drop of water which is with the every person that matters. So every person, every child, every stakeholder have to do their bit in ensuring that there is proper water management and conservation. That brings in to the importance of awareness building, and we have to catch the young. This to college students and the school students should be made aware of the importance of water, importance of conserving water, and also how we pass on water to the next generation. It's not only our issue; it's an existential issue for us. It is an issue for the next generation. So we have to ensure that people's participation is there, and there is a lot of awareness building to be done. So we find, as he said, various pillars to various stakeholders involved. Integrated action by all of them is required to see that the water security is maintained. So science and engineering pillars, as rounding up, I said that can increase the water supply or make water use more efficient. Management tools can help us in demand caps or managing the demands of various sectors. Financial and economic tools can and give access to the ensure safety access to the water for people by funding these technologies to do these things. So the SDG goals which we are set to give to our people by 2030, the water is very important, and the SDG 6 talks about water, and not only that's SDG 6. Most of the SDG goals are related to water. So if we want to achieve our SDG goals, we have to ensure that water security is properly addressed and all stakeholders are involved. That is exactly 30 minutes. I stop here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, and how beautifully sir has broken down every word of the topic and has explained from right from multi-stakeholder to water governance to how it boils down to every individual at large, and we are all responsible for water conservation and bringing forth sustainability. So, as ma'am said, and as we were eager to have questions, we do have received some questions. I would request Vishwas to please join us on screen so that we can address the question. He can himself ask the question and get the answers from the panel.
Hi, am I visible?
Yes, you are visible and audible, and we would request you to introduce yourself and then go ahead with the question.
Thank you, Amrita, for giving me this opportunity. So, I'm a communications professional based in New Delhi. I've been dealing with organizing media conferences and all that, looking after the media mandate of a few diplomatic missions in India. So basically, I wanted to ask one question, which is related to key challenges. My question goes like this: that what are the key challenges in ensuring equitable access to safe drinking water in rural and urban India, and how do disparities in infrastructure and governance contribute to these challenges?
Side?
Yeah, sir, am I
I
audible?
thought that Archana should be answering this.
Should I be answering, sir?
Yes, yes. I'm going to talk with the. Please answer that. I'll also take it up later.
So your question of what are the key challenges? Can you just repeat the question, Vishwas?
Yes, absolutely. My question is, what are the key challenges in ensuring equitable access to safe drinking water? Because as we know that potable water access is something, this topic is one of the utmost of concern for either the center or the state government. So my question is, what are the key challenges in ensuring equitable access to potable water in rural and urban India? And how do disparities in infrastructure and governance contribute to these challenges?
So, in your second question, is your first answer. Disparities in infrastructure and governance are the key challenges in ensuring equitable access in providing safe drinking water. Though those are the first key challenges. First and second. Third is that the source, sustaining the source for providing drinking water to the community is also a key challenge, because only when you have a strengthened source which is available always can you provide drinking water to household and communities. Because many a times what happens is that the because the source for the drinking water is not sustained, the drinking water provision to communities become a problem. Then also the institutional structure in the community. Sometimes you have very many vested interests for ensuring that a certain kind of community or a certain area of the community gets the drinking water first, and then the marginal last person in the queue sometimes gets overlooked. Those it also depends on the structure of the community in the village, especially, not so much in urban area. In urban area, sir has said, one of the key challenges is the basic urbanization in itself, which has very many problems in setting up the structure itself, because most of our urban cities are unplanned, congested, and it's difficult to take drinking water to households because of the very structure of the mohalla or ilaka, especially in vulnerable areas, and where the people live. There are sometimes issues like, for water to be given, for potable water to be given, sometimes you need the pattas, the land, for provision of or an electricity connection. That doesn't happen in unauthorized colonies. So unauthorized colonies also are a key challenge in providing water, in especially so in urban area. And one of the key challenges is how to get, because in many urban areas, sources which are there are far away. So, getting drinking water from the source to the place can be a very, very resource intensive exercise. It's not so easy sometimes to get water from, pure water, because especially so getting good water from the source can be a very resource intensive exercise, and resources are always a challenge. As an alternative, recycle and reuse for providing potable water will not be acceptable to people as such as of now, because there is, our mindset is such that nobody will be drinking. Neither do we have the technology to make it potable everywhere. We have technological constraints, resource constraints, and also mindset constraint that. If you are also given, potable quality water which has been recycled from a STP to the tertiary degree, you may hesitate. Like in Surat, there is a beautiful tertiary plant which takes water into the STP and makes it totally potable. But still, when I was made to drink it, I hesitated for some time. So if I can hesitate, imagine the consequences for change of mindset. So nowhere in the world has I think recycled water, especially from sewage, has been used for drinking, though the technology is there. Then one of the biggest challenge is the contamination of the soil in some areas. You have arsenic, so there, finding the source becomes a key challenge. There, though, Jal Jeevan Mission has led to a lot of blocks of arsenic and fluoride, they have become less. But yes, the quality of water, groundwater in many of the areas are a key challenge, and prioritization of water by the state government or the local government as the priority. So wherever you find that institutions have prioritized water, it is it has done better wherever there's integrated management of water, wherever there's community ownership of water, wherever women have participated in water. It has evidence is showing that there, you know potable water is given better. And then another key challenge is operation and maintenance. Government can to a certain extent build infrastructure, But maintaining the infrastructure, it has been seen that wherever community has taken ownership of, operating and maintaining the infrastructure given for drinking water and for potable sources, they have performed better. But O&M is also a big challenge, both as a source, because some of the drinking water sources are also not maintained, and then also in the system of drinking water. And of course, better governance is always a key factor. So these are some of the institutional challenges in providing potable drinking water to all concerned. And there is no one size fit all solution. It has to be, redressal has to be context specific. But yes, Jal Jeevan Mission has been able to, despite all the challenges, it has been able to provide 78% of population in the rural area with potable drinking water, which is not a mean achievement in such a short period of time. No other country has gone on this kind of scale up in such a short period of time. So, despite the challenges, and also state water being a state subject. So, despite all the challenges of source sustainability, of operability, maintainability, then institutional structures and capacities, I think Jal Jeevan Mission has done quite well. There will be problems, whenever such a large scale scheme is implemented. Of course, there will be problems in implementations at local level. But despite that, I feel that we have seen like Namami Gange, Jal Jeevan Mission. These are schemes which have been scaled up in a very short period of time. So I guess they have done well despite the challenges. And challenges remain, especially, there is tanker mafia also in the urban areas, which have a very vested interest, and also in the rural areas in not getting, in ensuring that the community doesn't get the potable water in their households, because then they will. So those are also challenges. There are federal level challenges, state level challenges, local level challenges, community level challenges. But I would, Arpita, I would request that the questions are addressed to Ashok sir. And
No,
not to
no,
me.
you have mentioned. So actually, the point is that we had. This is what I think probably I talked the entire talk was on ensuring water governance. So when you came out with the question, I thought that again, Archana should have. So either I failed in communicating the way correctly to you, or that's what. Anyway, thank you.
Next up, we have Dr. ML Gaur. Can we have him on the screen? Sir, please unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
Please,
And
yes, I have. So I have posted my question in chat box itself. Shall I directly start answering, or you will question me again?
Okay, why that effectively ensure sustainable access to clean water?
Yeah, actually, first of all, I would like to congratulate the madam. I like to share one experience. In last August, I went to Toronto for the World Water Congress, and there was only one stall for all the Congress in 190 countries. It was Namami Gange. And I have one small complaint also, madam. In that stall, the best material was there, but the person we were talking, we are not of so. So I took this opportunity. I handled the stall for 2 days, and I spoke the people around the Congress, and it was included in the final version of the release of the video also. So my request is that the Namami Ganga is doing a wonderful job. Wonderful job. The question is that we have to reach up to the roots. Up to the roots. Please involve some of the organizations which are not in your list. We need to have PPP. We must include the private organizations, private universities, and the students and the farmers in a big way. in a big way. So this is my suggestion from this conference, and very nice decision. Question is not there. You have to understand the word. My question was water use efficiency versus water productivity. We are not clear. We are not clear. It is entirely different thing. Water productivity is more important as compared to water use efficiency. How much money you are getting per drop of water, that is more important, not the how much biomass you are getting per drop of water. This is my suggestion, madam. So
Yes,
once again, congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So this is what we have been doing for last couple of years. I don't know. Thanks that you visited the Namami Gange stall. We always had been forefront in having our exhibitions. Somehow, as I mentioned about continuity in Montreal, probably the exhibition was there. People did not go. That's a separate thing. Now, your point about water use and water productivity. Yes, no. In Namami Gange, when we were there, I mean, our primary focus on natural farming was not more crop per drop, but more net income per drop. So we were actually very much convinced about the slogan which we are using, but the government of India and the agriculture ministry continues to use this more crop per drop, which, as you rightly said, not the biomass per crop is more important, because if you don't get money out of it, it is useless. So our campaign in National Mission for Clean Ganga was as a part of the Earth Ganga. One of the Earth Ganga pillar was natural farming, and in that we mentioned our target was to have maximum net income, and not even income, net income per drop, because more expenditure, more income doesn't make any sense. Less expenditure, even less income also, if the gap is more, that is the saving for the farmer. So that's why we were focusing on more net income per drop. The second aspect of involving farmers and etc. If you have a look at the website of NMCG, you can get it. Otherwise, I can tell a website which you can see. I leave it in the chat box. You can see that. In Namami Gange, last couple of years, we had actually shifted from focusing on technology and engineering solutions to people participation, people-oriented solutions. That's the concept, the Ardha Ganga, which the Prime Minister had given us. So we had actually moved to a very large people's management in Namami Gange. We had started the district Ganga committees. All of them are meeting regularly, which is district Ganga committees are the have representatives of the local bodies in that local, not Sarkari fellows, but stakeholders from the systems are there. We had Namami Gange had tied up with the MOU with about more than 50-60 universities. We had in about a year back regular meetings, but I don't know what is the present stage, but otherwise we used to have regular meetings with universities. In fact, APAC was the agency which had actually brought in about 50-60 universities when we signed the MOU. And not only with the Indian universities, we had tied up with the many foreign universities of America and South Korea and Namami Indian universities. We used to have regular conversations on sharing of ideas, sharing of students, to ensure that the technology as well as experiences on water conservation are shared. And the last part of it, the farmers and even the religious institutions were involved in the management of River Ganga, and that is exactly why we could get this prestigious award. You were mentioning about the Toronto conference a year back in to December 13 at the Montreal COP15 on the biodiversity. Namami Gange was given as one of the top 10 world restoration flagships. It's a very great honor, because from more than 250 200 projects of the world, Namami was selected as one of the top 10 of the eco restoration flagships. They were using three criteria. One was for the halting and reversing the environmental damage. Second was on improving the biodiversity, and third was people's participation. So anyway, thanks for the suggestion, and we are also thinking in your direction.
Sir, one line from me, sir. I am located in Patna. I am located in Vaishali. It is near to Nalanda. So all traditional Ganga, and I have 1,000 students available for you. I can devote free of cost. Please involve some setup where our students can be the part of Namami Gange. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you
very
so
much.
much, sir, for your inputs. And
Thank you.
next up, we have a question, though the person is not willing to come on screen. I would like to ask Ashok, sir, that in a diverse and heterogeneous country like India with multiple administrative policies, how would you advocate a smoother coordination between center and states to ensure better water governance and water management?
Very excellent question. And if you look at in the last 10, maybe 10, 15 years, 10 years particularly, the cooperative federalism, which is a theme which the government keeps on talking about, has been trying to improve. The very fact that the water is a state subject had put in so much of constraint to get the normal policies on board for all the states. In the last maybe so many years, the endeavor of the central government of India was to bring together all stakeholders. Archana had actually organized a couple of meetings of the state water ministers for the first time, because the earlier the subject water was left to the states, and then they were actually asking to manage their water, and only inter-state water disputes used to be managed at the central level. So beyond that, it has gone up, telling that water is an important resource for the economic development. If you are talking about a $5 trillion economy, water has a very significant role to play. Realizing that, government of India started that Swachh Bharat mission, which actually improved the quality of water. Imagine so much of night soil outside, open defecation. This would have washed down to the people. I can give you from my example. I can tell you, when I was DM in this district called Nizamabad in 2001, much before the Swachh Bharat mission, we constructed about 140,000 individual sanitary toilets, pakka toilets. And in 1 year, the diarrhea cases of the district came down from 5,500 to about 157. This is a live example of how water, the open defecation getting stopped and then getting into individual sanitary latrines has helped the cleaning of water sources, the drinking water sources, and how it has impacted the health of the people. So the Swachh Bharat mission started by the government of India was and is a very significant step to ensure that the water quality of the water sources are maintained. We have actually water policy, national water policy came up in 2012. That's the last one. 2009 also we had a water policy. Government of India had been trying to work out the water policies in a way, and now we have a concept of water at 2047. All the members of the Ministry of Jal Shakti is working with stakeholders and the state governments. And as I mentioned, this is the first time probably we are having meetings of the state ministers of water and trying to give them a platform. For the first time in the last 5 years, we have started giving awards. National Water Mission was the first to start the water award, and then it has been taken over by the ministry, and ministry is giving water awards to people who in state governments and the DMs and the stakeholders at the ground level who are doing work in water sector. So trying to appreciate and give a platform for all the stakeholders in the country and various states to share their success stories is a step in that direction. So most probably I would say that these type of activities of bringing state or different state governments on a platform to display their success stories, also to share the experiences and the problems they face, and these type of conferences of ministers which help to sort of smoothen out the issues on water sector and also give them direction in which the government of India moving is very excellent, and that's happening now.
Right, sir. So there is another question about river rejuvenation. I would like to hear it from sir. Like we would all want to hear it from sir. How climate change is impacting the sustainability of river rejuvenation projects, and how water governance can effectively move in this direction.
So I think I also mentioned in my talk about the climate change, impact of climate change, and regarding the impact of climate change in the river rejuvenation projects, it's very important because one, because of the climate change and the excessive rainfalls and the untimely rainfalls and the short period of rainfalls, and of course extraction of water, many of the feeder channels are disappearing. So the smaller rivulets which used to form the slightly bigger rivers, which used to form the rivulets and then into rivers and then coming into the major river, as being affected. You know, if you notice, Gangaji, which flows from Devaprayag to down to Ganga Sagar, gets the boost when Yamuna joins in Prayagraj. So Yamuna is a river which actually joins Ganga, and the water quality improves from Prayagraj onwards. So if you look at like that, every river has many tributaries and smaller rivers which will join them, and with the disappearance of these streams, the feeder rivers, these rivers are drying up, and that is creating a tremendous impact on the rejuvenation of the rivers in the country. So we have now taken steps to ensure that the smaller order rivers are rejuvenated and protected, and for that the water bodies have to be protected. So water body protection is a part of that. So all these Jal Jeevan Mission, all the Cash the Rain campaign and the Manrega activities are primarily focusing on ensuring the water bodies, the rejuvenation of water bodies, the Amrit Sarovars coming up in various districts. They all collect water, and then through the water, underground seepage of water, the smaller streams get rejuvenated, and that in turn adds to the bigger rivers, and then ensure that the water is protected. So uh, climate change aspects are very, very crucial. We have to ensure that these issues are addressed, and see that the rejuvenation of small water bodies in the villages take place, rejuvenation and small streams in the villages take place, and hence the rejuvenation of bigger rivers can take place.
Thank you so much, sir. I would request the audience to share their questions, and they are most welcome to come on screen and ask themselves. Meanwhile, there is a little question that I would want to ask personally from both of you. We have been talking of the multi stakeholder approach. As officers, what personal inclination do you people have as officers in pushing forward this entire campaign of Catch the Rain? We would be grateful if we hear it both from sir and ma'am.
Uh, I'll start first. Personal campaign, because you were asking what is the personal interest. Yes, personal interest, because we tend to look for the improved quality of life of the people, and try to do justice to the post we give. So water had been an important topic with me, at least. So I was actually in the Hyderabad Water Board, looking after the supply of drinking water in Hyderabad. So we started daily drinking water supply in Hyderabad after over 24 years. That's a big success story. And then in villages, actually, I said in district when we work, we actually try to improve the water supply by forming water habitation committees. In 2001, we had this individual sanitary latrines built. So water and sanitation had been a subject of passion for me. So I was doing that. And more than that, realizing that if you want to look at improved quality of life, and if the target given to all the IS officers is to improve the country's economy, etc., water is a very important resource. So there are people who are working in power sector, there are people working in industry sector. This is also one of the stakeholders, and our humble contributions to the development of the country would be hopefully recognized and done. So that is the personal motivation in running around with water and the campaigns associated with water. Archana.
There's nothing personal about it. It's just a professional commitment, which any civil servant must deliver as per government's vision. So it's professional commitment. There's no personal inclination as such. Tomorrow, if I'm given another sector, I would be trying to do my best, to the best of my ability, to deliver the vision of the government.
If anybody is willing to ask some more questions, we'll go ahead. Else, I would like to thank ma'am and sir for joining us, and I would like to ask ma'am to for her closing remarks so that we can wrap up the session.
In the end, I would like to thank Ashok sir for a very comprehensive and insightful, overall perspective on water governance and the importance of multi-stakeholders. After what all sir has said, there's nothing much left to say except to thank him, and we hope to, have more fruitful interaction with sir in the future, and his guidance is always very welcome in this sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Archana. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining in. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everybody who has watched this conversation. And we would be back with 58th Water Talk edition soon. Thank you.